This is my favorite headshot setup. We're gonna start simple and build from level 1, 2 to 3. I'm gonna give tips along the way. Let's dive in. What's up, friends? My name is Pye. Welcome to another MagMod tutorial and welcome back to the studio. I want to dive straight into this. We're talking about headshot setups. We're going to do lighting. We're going to do some posing tips, all of it. But first, introductions. This is Kiara. Y'all know Kiara. We'll link her up so y'all can give her a follow. I assume a lot of you probably already are. We also have Gandalf. Say hi, boy. Say hi. We brought our studio mascot for today, and we're going to try to get this done with him. All right, level 1, the basics. Let's dive right into this. Kiara, I'm going to have you stand right underneath the light. Now, I want you to pay attention to the setup. My favorite lighting setup for headshots is a clamshell setup, which starts with a butterfly light, and that's what we're beginning with right here. Butterfly or Paramount lighting just means that the light's coming straight top down. We have another video that goes to the 5 common lighting patterns, so we're starting with one of those, okay? I'm gonna show you some quick details about this, but basically you want your light, I'm using the ProPhoto B10, you can use any light you'd like. You want it a bit above your subject's head, angled down and kind of at an angle towards them. I'm also using the MagBox Pro 24 Octa. You can use the larger one, you can use the smaller one, it doesn't really matter, you're gonna get a bit of different light quality from it. I do like the larger light source for that softer quality of light, but I'm opting to use the 24 here because it gives us a little more room to play and for you guys to see what's going on. Now, what's important here is angle. So I want you guys to see it by demonstrating. First, I want you guys to come over to this side. I want you to notice the angle of this light is kind of going down and towards Kiara, okay? That's really important because what's gonna matter a lot in addition to that angle is Kiara's position. Her moving a couple inches forward versus a couple inches back is gonna make a huge difference in the way that that light falls onto the face, and I'm gonna show you. For my camera, I have the Canon R5. I'm pairing it with just a 7200. I'm zoomed all the way out at 70 millimeters, and you can use any lens and camera combination you'd like. I would recommend for headshots that you go beyond 50 millimeters. So like 70 millimeters is fine, 85 is kind of ideal. That way we're not getting distortion with these types of shots. So Kiara, we're gonna start you back like maybe another 6 inches, right there. I'm gonna have you move closer to me by 6 inches each time I get a shot, okay? So first we're gonna start right here, and I'm gonna try to shoot the same composition each time. Kiara, take a tiny step this right there. Perfect. Right there. Great. Perfect. Now Kiara, 6 inches forward. Perfect. Roughly. All right, 6 inches forward again. Okay. So as soon as she steps a little bit too far back, which is the first shot, the light, it is entering the face and we're filling kind of lines and we're getting good catch lights and whatnot, but it's a little bit too far back. So she's not only a little bit dark, we're losing a little bit of the softness, the quality of the light source because she's a little too far, right? So it becomes a bit smaller. When she stepped in a little bit, we got to that sweet spot. That sweet spot, you can see, we have this beautiful catch light in the eyes, we have good shadows, everything. And then she steps a little bit too close and we get this too harsh of shadows. We lose our catch lights in the eyes. We start getting too much shadow on the face. So this is the first thing. This level 1 setup, it can be beautiful if you get these subtle tweaks in place, okay? Now we're gonna do one other modification. So we found our sweet spot. So Kiara, you're gonna go back just a little bit to that spot right there. And I want you all to come to the side just to see exactly that angle. So look at where she's standing in relation to the softbox. It's right on. Now we're gonna go level it up a little bit. We're gonna finish out our clamshell setup. Rather than using another light, we're just gonna use a reflector. You can use a reflector, the white side. You can use a V-flat, you can use anything. And you can also place this onto a stand. You can use anything you like to hold it. Or in this case, I'm just gonna have Kiara hold one side of it just like that. And it's gonna go right below the chin. You can lower it a little bit, Kiara, right there. And we're gonna take this shot right here. Now, what you notice with that second shot is immediately we have a huge difference. We see a lot of light now coming up from the reflector, and it's not only adding light to the eyes, it's also filling in shadows under the chin. And guess what? You can control that as well with distance. So don't feel like one angle of this is right or wrong, right? If I bring this light up, so Kiara, hold the reflector up higher, we're gonna get more light when it's up this high. That's a little bit too high. Go down a little bit right there. If we bring it down a little bit lower, Kiara, go down. I'm gonna take a shot again. And this time we still get that beautiful fill, but it's more subtle, okay? So play with that as well. The angle and the distance of this is gonna control that fill from your clamshell lighting setup. All right, so that's level 1. Let's go to level 2. We're gonna stick with the clamshell setup, but this time we're gonna introduce positive and negative fill using V-flats. I'm gonna show you, let's dive right in. So these are V-flats from V-Flat World. Nice and easy to set up. And we're gonna start with the white side of these, and I'll place them on both sides of Kiara. We're just gonna place, what did you do? Okay, so this is our level 2 clamshell setup. So what we're doing is using the whites of these V-flats on each side. And guess what? If you don't have V-flats, you can use large reflectors like this one. You can just hang them. It doesn't matter. What we're using are these white reflectors to push light from all sides. And this is kind of similar, although you would have more control if you were to use multiple lights. This is similar to kind of using a square lighting setup. So we're gonna go ahead and take a shot right here. And what you'll see is we get this beautiful kind of soft fill from all sides. It creates very minimal shadows. Gorgeous. Now let's do the opposite. Let's do negative fill. So what we're gonna do is reverse the size of these V-flats, and I'm gonna show you a different version of this setup where you're gonna get a more chiseled look on the face because we're gonna pull light from the image. Let's do it. All right, our level 2 setup, part 2. This is negative fill. So now the black on each side is gonna prevent light from reflecting and bouncing around. It's essentially gonna kind of pull light out of the face, which creates a little more of a chiseled look and deeper shadows. Let's start first without the clamshell. Boom. Now when we look at this and compare to the first shot, that was the image without V-flats and without the clamshell, you'll notice that we have a little bit more light pulled out of the face, a little bit darker shadows along the cheekbones, and it's really nice to kind of create a little slimming effect and a little more of a dramatic look to the image. Now we're gonna go ahead and add back in that clamshell. So go ahead and hold the bottom of the reflector. There you go, Kiara, come forward a tiny bit. Right there. And this, I love. This is one of my favorite setups with just the V-flats and this basic clamshell setup. It creates such a beautiful overall look. We get these subtle shadows with a good amount of fill, beautiful catch lights. This is one of my go-tos, and I dig it. All right, level 3, Gandalf has helped us set up a couple additional lights. Let's grab those. I know it doesn't look like it because he's just laying on his butt right now, but here we have 2 additional pro photos. I'm just using small light sources on this one. Again, any lights you'd like. I need a little bit of light. So basically any small flash is gonna totally work. I'm using the MagGrid on them to control light. And this is a great place where you can also use colors if you want to introduce colors into that rim light. What I'm going to do though is bring one of these to each side from the back. And these are basically angled directly towards Kiara from that back side. We're going to use them. I'm going to keep them at a pretty low power setting. I believe they are at 5 power. So we don't need a lot of light. We just need it to be in the right place. And I like to make these kickers a little bit more on the subtle side. All right, Gandalf, you going to help me out, bud? Okay, same things. I really dig the negative fill look, so we're gonna keep that there, and I'm gonna go ahead and use our clamshell setup as well. I love that. So now we get this kicker on the hair. It looks absolutely fantastic. And keep in mind that with those background kind of rim lights for this, you control the power of those, right? So if I want it to be a little more subtle, I can just dial it down a bit. Now, I want to show you one thing not to do. I don't like leaving those background lights at too high of a power. And I'll show you, it kind of tends to have a very obnoxious and distracting look when we get too much light coming through on the backside. So I'm not a huge fan of that look where it looks like the hair is almost like catching on fire, like it's so bright. So I generally like it to be quite a bit lower on the more subtle side. And by the way, once this is set up, this is a great place to play. So let me show you what it looked like if you were just to put 2 gels. I'm gonna put 2 orange gels in the background to create a little more warmth in that hair light. I often forget that like doing that a few years back used to be a lot more annoying. It's also simple now that I forget how it was replacing gels and taping and velcroing and doing all that bullshit. All right, level 3, part 2. This time our kickers in the back have half CTOs or color temperature orange gels on them. Let's go ahead and bring that reflector in for our clamshell and let's take the shot. I love that. You can see how different a look you get with a little bit of color coming in through the back versus just that standard light. Okay, so in summary, level 1 was that basic Paramount or butterfly light setup. And honestly, with the right positioning of your subject and the light, you can get a great look with just that. But we kind of finished level 1 with that clamshell, the reflector, which is the way that I like to go. Level 2, we started playing with positive and negative fill using V-flats. And again, the look that I like for that is the negative fill with the reflector at the bottom. I really like the chiseling effect. Then finally, level 3, we start adding kickers into the background where we get a little bit of light onto the hair, onto the shoulders, and you can color that light to have additional fun with it. We're gonna link up everything that we used in the description of this video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you have any questions, please let me know. Give Kiara a follow, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Oh, and you can follow Gandalf too, if you'd like.